Those of you who have walked in from the press of your day, from telephones and lists and that little tightening just here in the chest, hear me gently. Without a period of meditation, without so much as a breath of acknowledgement, we step into the morning as if we were going to do something of ourselves. And the reason that matters is this: I can of mine own self do nothing, said the Master. And again, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. When we rush, we are announcing to heaven and to our own nervous system that we are the doer. Hurry is a creed. It confesses faith in our own sufficiency, and we know how that ends, like a branch that severs itself and then wonders why it withereth. So I am asking of you a small obedience that opens a great door, a measured 7 seconds, not a vague nod toward God, not a mechanical amen as we stride on, but 7 honest seconds of surrender with the prayer, Father, this is thy day. Thou doest the works. That is all. 7 seconds in which the government is transferred. 7 seconds in which we step down from the driver's seat and let the indwelling presence take the wheel. Be still and know that I am God. How long does knowing take? In truth, it need not be long. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds. Yes, today we shall make it 7 and make it faithful. And to end vagueness, to save you from self-deception, we shall have 2 live timers upon the screen. When they begin, you and I will not pretend to pause. We will pause. Measurable silence will replace intending to silence. This is not for theatrics. This is for honesty. It is too easy to say, I paused, when all we did was hesitate between emails. 7 seconds counted, eyes and heart turned within, ends that hypocrisy. It draws a line before self, after presence. What is the promise? Immediate relief, because agency shifts. The burden moves from your shoulders to his. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. In 7 seconds the breath softens, the shoulders drop of their own accord, the mind so busy arranging tomorrow becomes like a quiet pond. Do not think I speak poetry. I have lived this. Time and again, standing before what looked like more than a day could hold, I have paused 7 seconds. Father, this is thy day. Thou doest the works, and then found the tasks arrange themselves, calls returned at the right moment. Even delays proved to be mercies hiding in plain sight. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Perfect, perhaps not yet in us, but peace enough to move the next inch in grace. That is the fruit. Now, let me be pastoral and plain. Make no move, at least, without this 7-second yielding. Before you answer that message, before you stir that pot on the stove, before you speak to the child, before you sign the paper, pause. It is a small obedience, but repeated often, it weaves a new fabric through your day. The repetition is not vain. It is living reliance. Vain repetition is of no value, but a sincere turning. Father, this is thy day. Thou doest the works, restores our place as branch to vine. And from there, supply flows. From there, love flows. From there, timing and right words appear of themselves, because the Father within is now the doer. You will find that the ego resists. It whispers, there is no time to pause. Ask it a question. Have the years of not pausing made you rich in rest, in wisdom, in love? If not, risk 7 seconds. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let that be the canopy over this practice. Not my wisdom, not my efficiency. Thy grace. Begin now in your heart, and know we shall count together with those timers. So your surrender is not theory, but act. And as you learn this, you will see the day belongs not to the hurried self, but to the Father who dwelleth in you and doeth the works. This is the foundation. Take it, and all else will be given rightfully, in order, in peace. Now, if we are to be honest physicians of our own souls, let us look squarely at the sign that tells us we have moved back onto the throne. It is not hidden. It speaks in the body before it argues in the mind. There is that little tightening across the brow. The chest draws in as if oxygen were rationed. The foot taps. The hand reaches forward before the heart has bowed. Inside, a rehearsal begins. What we shall say, how we shall win, what the other will do, and how we will outdo it. That is the coronation ceremony of the personal self as doer. Hurry is its hymn. When you feel that haste rising, know what it is saying. I must manage this. I must secure this. I must push this through. And in that very moment, the sap is being cut off, for the branch has declared independence. Hear the Master. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, John 15:5-6. This is not poetry only. It is our mirror. When we abide, fruit appears timing, words seasoned with grace, love that goes out without fatigue. When we do not abide, even our successes taste dry, and the very thing we clutch begins to crumble. Hurry is the symptom of self as doer. It withers the branch, and the reason is this. The branch cannot be its own vine. It cannot pull life from itself. It can only consent to be fed. Let us unmask the holy lie that props up hurry. Control feels heavy because it is imaginary. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Did any one of us hold up this morning's sun? Did we knit the child's breath as he slept? And yet we think to hold up an office, a family, a plan by the neck and make it live. No wonder we are tired. Grace, on the other hand, is restful because it is actual. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He maketh, he leadeth, not I. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. That is why 7 seconds can restore more than 70 minutes of stratagems. They return us to what is real. Do not call without thee, I can do nothing defeat. Call it doorway. It is the key that fits the lock of the kingdom. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Light because it is his, easy. Because we are joined to his doing, not dragging our own. When that sentence, without thee I can do nothing, is spoken as self-accusation, it wounds. When it is spoken as worship, it opens the gate, and the Father within walks out to do the works. Believe it or not, that is the entire turn from exhaustion to flow. Where then do we make the turn? At every threshold. Each email is a threshold. Before you strike send, pause. Each call is a threshold. Before you say hello, pause. The door to your house, the conference room, the store, the child's bedroom thresholds, the steering wheel, the stove, the bank app thresholds. Do not push through as if you were sufficient. Lay 7 seconds on the sill and let the presence go before you. Father, thou doest the works. The moment you feel the hurrying self reach for the knob, let that be the bell that says, abide. It is not delay. It is alignment. It is not indolence. It is obedience. I have paid the price of hurry. I do not speak as a scold, but as a man recovered. I answered a sharp letter once in the heat of my own cleverness. Oh, it was correct. It was tidy. It was fast. And it took 3 weeks of prayer and 2 long visits to knit again what 7 seconds would have spared. Another time, a child at my table asked a small holy question, and I brushed it aside to make a meeting. The meeting dissolved into nothing. The question had to be coaxed back like a shy bird. The withering is not always public. Sometimes it is the quiet drying of affection, the thinness that enters a home when the branch boasts, "I have no time to abide." So learn to read the signal, beloved. Tightness says, "I have taken the throne." Haste says, "I will be my own vine." Mental rehearsal says, "There is no Father within. I must do the works, answer them with truth. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works." Then put the truth on its feet. Stop on the threshold. 7 honest seconds. Yield the doer. You will find the breath comes back, the eyes soften, the words unhook from fear, and love begins to flow out as if from an unseen storehouse. That is not magic. That is abiding. And the fruit, it will be as he promised, right timing, gentle power, sufficiency without strain, because the branch no longer hurries, it rests in the vine. Beloved, at some point our pausing must stand upon a word that does not wobble when our feelings do. Otherwise the 7 seconds become nothing more than a polite breath between two acts of self-direction. Here then, not as motto, but as marching order. John 14:10 inches, the King James. Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Do you notice the tense? Dwelleth, doeth. Not dwelt, not did, as if it were a museum of ancient wonders. But this hour, this email, this meeting, this stirring of the pot, he doeth. If you and I will accept the indwelling as present fact, the burden transfers at once. If we will not, we will go on speaking not of myself while doing everything of ourselves, and the branch will feel the dryness of its own confession. And the apostle seals it, not with poetry, but with identity. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. Yet not I. How far does that go? To your tone of voice, to your pacing between doors, to your choice of silence or speech. Christ liveth in me is not a Sunday ornament. It is the relocation of the doer from the little self to the indwelling presence. You remain yourself, yes. The life you now live in the flesh you live by the faith of the Son of God, not by the grind of personal ambition. That is why 7 seconds have power. They are the ceremony of transfer that agrees with the word already spoken. Now, a kindly warning. Vain repetition is of no value. To say he doeth the works while clutching the steering wheel of your outcomes is to speak against your own soul. Promises are to be trusted, not rattled off. Trust quiets the heart. Trust ceases the rehearsal and waits for the inward witness. Therefore, take the word and sit in it as on a chair that will hold you. Let your very body feel its weight until the breath drops and the shoulders confess, another is carrying me. To help you establish a daily trio of anchors, 3 promises before which you will not move. Begin with John 14:10. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Join to it Isaiah 26:3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. And add 2 Corinthians 9:8. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. Write them on a small card. Place them in your phone. Tape them to the inner lid of your red letter New Testament if you have one. And then before the call, before the signature, before you knock on the door, 7 seconds with these 3. Not to coax God, but to consent to God. How does this change the hour? Consider a real decision. You bring the papers to your desk. The old fear says, If I do not force this now, I shall lose my window. But your rule arrests the hand. You take the trio. Father, thou doest the works. Silence. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace. Silence. God is able to make all grace abound, all sufficiency in all things. In that quiet, the rush breaks like a wave and rolls back. An email arrives you had not expected. The phrase you were going to use tastes wrong and falls away. Or perhaps nothing outward changes, but peace comes, and you proceed not from pressure, but from permission. That is the word becoming functional agency. It decides, it times, it phrases, it restrains. Let the confession be plain on your lips. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not my cleverness, not my calendar, not the size of my network. Thy grace, say it softly until it is said within you without words. Then the 7 seconds are not empty. They are inhabited. Believest thou not? Yes, Father, we believe. Dwell in us as thou hast promised. Do the works as thou wilt. Keep our minds stayed, and we shall be kept. Abound thy grace, and we shall abound to every good work. And having thus stood on the promise, let us walk slowly enough to remain kept, bold enough to remain yielded, so that when the fruit appears, we may say truly, it was never I. It was always the Father within. Now let us do this together, not as a concept, but as an act. Place your feet quietly on the floor as if you were setting an altar stone grounded, present. Let the shoulders ease. Let the jaw unclench. Let the hands rest open upon the lap or upon the desk. Eyes open softly or gently lowered. No strain, no performance. We are not trying to work anything up. We are consenting to what already is. Be still and know that I am God. In a moment we shall begin 7 honest seconds. When I say begin, speak once within not many words, but one true offering. Father, this is thy day. Thou doest the works. Then silence. No chasing of thoughts. No forcing of calm. Simply yield the doer and let the presence be the doer. We will close with a simple I thank thee. Are you ready? Begin. Father, this is thy day. Thou doest the works. Now, let the word stop. Let the breath fall where it will. If a thought comes, let it pass like a bird across the sky. You need not push it away. You need not follow it. For these 7 heartbeats, you are not the arranger. You are the yielded one. The Father that dwelleth in you doeth the works. I thank thee. There. That is all. Do you notice the small untying within? Perhaps the breath has lengthened by a finger width. Perhaps the forehead has smoothed by a hair's breadth. Perhaps there is only the ordinary, the chair under you, the air upon the skin, and yet the axis has shifted, for you have moved from self to presence. Obedience, not fireworks, is the sign. Do not despise the quiet. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, not in sensations, not in reports to tell a friend. The obedience itself is the doorway through which grace walks. Let me guide you once more, and this time notice how little is asked of you. Feet grounded, shoulders easy, eyes soft. No holy posture required, only honesty. Prepare. And now, with a single inward sentence, once, not twice, turn the key. Father, this is thy day, thou doest the works. Then rest. If memory throws you a task, leave it to the presence for these few seconds. If emotion tugs at the sleeve, nod to it and let it stand outside the sanctuary. You are consenting. You are not manufacturing peace. You are standing where peace already is. Close with, I thank thee. Simple, clean, sincere. What has happened? Perhaps nothing you can name. That is all right. Vain repetition is of no value. But faithful reliance, even in 7 seconds, rearranges the inner government. The self has stepped down from the throne. The Father within has been acknowledged as the doer. The branch has turned again to the vine. This is not theater, it is transfer. And the fruit of such transfer is often small at first. A softened tone in the next sentence, a check in the hand before you send what ought not be sent, an email arriving by chance at the very minute you paused. Or it is simply this: the weight shifts from your shoulders to his. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall sustain, not you. Let us seal the practice with a word of gratitude that is not grasping. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Say it once within, quietly. Then let it rest. We are not trying to get God to come. We are thanking God for being. The presence is not a mood. The presence is the I that is with thee. And so even when the 7 seconds feel quite ordinary, believe the promise more than the feeling. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. You have stayed your mind, if only for 7 seconds. You will be kept, if only for the next step. That is enough. Carry this now into the hour. Make no move without at least this much. Feet grounded, shoulders easy, one true inward sentence, 7 seconds of yieldedness, a quiet, I thank thee. In 7 honest seconds, the center moves from self to presence. From there, the Father within will do the works. Beloved, let us not admire the practice and leave it on the shelf. Take a live decision, the one that has been tapping at the door of your mind even while we have been speaking. Perhaps it is a reply you owe, a purchase you are weighing, a conversation you have been postponing, a piece of scheduling that seems to have no place to land. Do not choose an imaginary mountain. Choose the hill in front of your feet. Take a slip of paper, or the note in your phone if you must, and write it in one clean line. Name it plainly. Speak to my sister about the will. Approve or delay the order. Accept or decline the meeting. No embroidery, no defense. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Now lift that single line within and hold it before God, not to get an answer, but to yield the doer. We will do this together. In a moment, we shall keep 7 honest seconds. Before them, one sentence within once, not twice. Father, this is thy work. Show thyself mighty in stillness. Then we will be still. We are not seeking a voice from the ceiling. We are yielding the one who has been pushing. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. Ready? Speak within and be still. Father, this is thy work. Show thyself mighty in stillness. There. Let the breath fall as it will. Be still and know that I am God. Know, not figure out. Now, how shall we proceed? Scripture gives you an umpire. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Let peace rule. Let it decide. What is present now? Is there a softening, a gentleness toward the other person, an unforced next inch to take? Then take that inch lightly. Is there instead a quiet check, a sense that to move now would be to push the river? Then obey the weight. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Waiting is not failure. When the Father within is the doer, it is consent. Act, if you are to act as one who is carried. A single sentence rather than a page. A request for clarity rather than a clever argument. A small order rather than the grand one that felt urgent in your haste. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. Steps, not leaps. And as you move, keep keep your ear to the ground of peace. If it departs, stop. If it deepens, continue. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4-6-7. Peace keeps you, you do not keep peace. Let me testify in brief so you will not think this is sermon only. I once stood over a letter that could have mended or divided a friendship. My cleverness had 3 paragraphs ready. 7 seconds laid them all down. In their place came 1 sentence and a date to talk. I sent only the sentence. The friend replied, "Thank you for not arguing." The mending came by itself in an hour that neither of us could have arranged. Believe it or not, that was the Father within doing the works. My part was access and consent. Now, take your paper again and make a small witness of what you did. Today's date, the decision named, the 7-second yielding, and what followed, peace to act or peace to wait, and the simple next step you took, not for pride, not to tell a story on yourself, but to strengthen your confidence when the next hour calls. Set these little Ebenezers along the road. Hitherto hath the Lord helped us, so that you may remember it was grace, not grind. Nothing must come to you as flattery. Everything must flow out from you as testimony to God's sufficiency. Make this the rule of your day. Do not force outcomes. Yield the doer. Before you press send, 7 seconds. Before you open your mouth, 7 seconds. Before you click buy, 7 seconds. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay your mind for these honest moments, and proceed only by the fruit of peace. If peace gives you a nudge, move lightly. If peace lays a hand upon your sleeve and says, "Wait, be content to be kept. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works." And as you walk this out today, you will find timing meeting you like a friend at the corner, love flowing where irritation used to stand, and the weight moving from your shoulders to his. That is immediate application. That is obedience made simple. That is the kingdom, quiet and present, doing what you could not. Beloved, the mystery is not far from thee. It is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. The presence does not come because we coax. The presence is. What then changes when 7 seconds are kept? Our part is access and consent. God's part is the doing. Acknowledgement is the hinge. When you say within, "Father, thou doest the works," you are not flattering deity. You are opening a door in the wall of self-assertion. You are making room for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Grace does not wrestle. Grace requires room. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. He does not break it down. Your 7 seconds turn the knob. And this must become your rule, spoken as a covenant with your own soul. Make no move at least without acknowledging the indwelling presence, not to bind yourself with law, but to free yourself from efforting. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3-5-6. Do you hear the sequence? Acknowledge, he shall direct. Access his doing. The moment you acknowledge, the axis tilts, the burden moves, the activity begins, often in ways that seem at first like delay. Do not fight it. The redirection is the doing. Watch the pattern, for it will become familiar to you as a friend's footstep. You pause, and instead of a rush to act, you are quietly checked, wait, or the hour that looked like the hour is nudged to the afternoon, and in that space another channel opens that you could not have arranged. Or a word you intended to speak drops away, and a gentler sentence takes its place, and the entire encounter is spared strain. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Ease is the signature of grace at work. not laziness, not passivity, ease. The sap is flowing. The branch need not squeeze fruit out of itself. Let me testify to the ordinary wonder of this. I reached for the telephone once with a case I was sure required, my insistence, funds, timing, all urgent. The habit saved me. I laid 7 seconds upon it. Father, thou doest the works. The hand went down. The urge subsided. An inward word, wait till morning. Morning came. Before I could dial, the call arrived. We were reviewing your matter last evening, they said, and we have cleared it. I had done nothing but consent. Believe it or not, that is not rare. That is typical of grace when we cease to manage outcomes and let the Father within take his own good road to his own good end. Name it plainly. Success is not I managed it. Success is the Father within did the work and I rested in consent. This reframes your whole day. The compliment comes, do not pocket it as your own. Turn at once, I thank thee. The obstacle yields, do not etch your initials upon it. Confess, the Father that dwelleth in me, he did this. The conversation softens, do not claim a new technique. Bear witness, it was grace. And when the hour seems to misfire, do not crumble into self-accusation. Return to your rule. Pause. Acknowledge. Consent again. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Keep the practice clean. Vain repetition is of no value. One true inward sentence, 7 honest seconds of yieldedness, and then walk by the fruit of peace. If peace deepens, continue. If peace withdraws, stand still. In this way you will learn the felt language of the indwelling. It is not always speech, it is governance. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, held, steadied, ruled. Your acknowledgement stays you, his grace keeps you, and then love begins to flow without squeezing. You will find yourself giving what you thought you lacked, patience, time, a listening ear. You did not produce it. You opened and it came through. Nothing must come to you. Everything must flow out from you. Why? Because the storehouse is within and the keeper of the storehouse is the doer. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Our part is access and consent. God's part is the doing. Let that be the sentence by which you travel. Make no move, at least, without acknowledging. And when the fruit appears, say with a glad humility, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Beloved, once the hand is off the wheel and the heart has said, Father, thou doest the works. What then? Then let it flow. What hast thou in the house? Said the prophet to the widow, and she answered, Thine handmaid hath not anything in the house save a pot of oil. 2 Kings 4:2. And you remember what followed. Not hoarding, but pouring. Not calculating, but obeying. The little became much as it moved. This is the law of grace. Supply multiplies by outflow. Nothing must come to us. Everything must flow out from us. Why? Because the storehouse is within, and the keeper of the storehouse is the doer. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. John 7:38. Rivers do not collect, rivers give. Tie it to the 7 seconds. After you pause and yield the doer, ask quietly, what hast thou in the house? Begin not with what you lack, but with what already abides in you. Love, truth, forgiveness. You may say, I have only a drop of kindness. Then pour the drop. I have only 1 sentence of amends. Then send the sentence. I have only a small bill I can forgive, a slight I can release, a blessing I can speak under my breath. Then do so. Freely ye have received, freely give. Matthew 10:8. Grace grows by going out. the 7-second pause opens the spigot. Make this very simple. Before a meal, 7 honest seconds of yieldedness, then let something go out, one message of gratitude, not a report of your day, but a blessing. I thank God for thee. Before a meeting, 7 seconds, then a silent benediction over the room. Peace be to this house. Before you enter the store, 7 seconds, then a quiet act, yield your place in line if it will spare strain, or meet a frown with a soft answer. A soft answer turneth away wrath, Proverbs 15:1. Before you answer the email that rubs your pride, 7 seconds. Then let truth flow out, not your defense, but a clarifying kindness. These are not theatricals. They are outlets. He that watereth shall be watered also himself. Proverbs 11:25. As you water, you will feel the well within deepen, not drain. Do not wait to have plenty. Break and divide what you have. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. Luke 6:38. Believe it or not, you will find that when you begin to let love go, love arrives in forms you could not have arranged. A small note of amends sent after 7 seconds will part a fog that 3 pages of explanation could not. A quiet gift, a book, a meal, a ride chosen under the rule of peace will set in motion providences that make nonsense of your budget math. Not because you have purchased favor, but because you have joined the current. Cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Ecclesiastes 11:1. You did not buy, you obeyed the law of flow. Let your identity keep you from fear. You are not a reservoir with a fixed level. You are a branch upon an inexhaustible vine. All that I have is thine, Luke 15:31. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, Luke 12:32. The sap is not measured by your purse, your schedule, or your energy. It is measured by his sufficiency. Therefore give without trembling. Let forgiveness flow where resentment has set like cement. Let truth flow where flattery would be easier. Let patience flow where you have been quick to cut off. The more the branch clutches, the more it withers, the more it yields, the more it bears. I will tell you a small thing that became large. I paused 7 seconds before a routine call. Father, thou doest the works. A nudge asked the clerk her name and bless her silently. I obeyed with no fanfare. Her voice broke. It was the first kindness of her day. The call, which should have taken 10 minutes of rules, took 3 minutes of favor. I did not engineer a result. I opened a spigot, and I received as I gave not a discount, but a deepening of the sense that the kingdom is present and active. That is the true increase. Keep the practice clean. We do not give to get, we give because we are connected. Vain repetition is of no value, and calculated generosity is only a craftier form of getting. 7 seconds, a sincere yielding, and then one act of outflow by the fruit of peace. If peace deepens, continue. If peace withdraws, stand still and wait for the next opening. In this way, your day becomes a string of small obediences, and the river finds its channels. So take your thresholds and pair them with micro outflows. Doorway pause, then a blessing. Inbox pause, then a word of thanks. Table pause, then a message of gratitude to one who fed you in another season. Street pause, then the right of way to a hurried stranger. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Say it once, yield the doer, and let it go out. In 7 honest seconds, the spigot is opened. The Father within will do the works through you, and you will discover that the house is not empty after all the oil increases as it pours. Beloved, now a word of charity and caution, that you may keep the path clean. We have set an altar in the midst of the day, 7 honest seconds of yielding. Guard the altar. Do not turn it into a charm. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, Matthew 6-7. Vain repetition is of no value. To say, Father, thou doest the works, while the fist is still clenched upon the outcome, is to utter sound without consent. Choose sincerity over quantity. One true inward sentence, spoken once, and then silence. That is faith. 10 hurried tries are not faith. They are fear in a rosary. Let the heart agree with the lips, and let the shoulders testify by loosening that you have yielded the doer. Beware, too, of forcing guidance. The ego loves a neon sign. The spirit often hangs a candle in a window. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46-10. It does not say, be noisy and prove. It says, be still. Many miss the road because they demand a trumpet when God is giving a thread of peace. Elijah expected wind and earthquake and fire, but the Lord was not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:11-12. If all you meet in your 7 seconds is a quieting and the smallest sense of rightness for the next inch, that is guidance enough for now. Take the inch. If there is only a check, a gentle not now, that too is guidance. Do not overthrow it by demanding a spectacle. And if the silence feels empty, do not run from it. Welcome it. Emptiness is room for God. The vessel must be cleared before the oil can be poured. He maketh me to lie down. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23-2-3. Restoration is not a performance. It is a resting. Sit your 7 seconds like a clean plate upon the table. If nothing seems placed upon it this time, keep the plate clean. The presence has not left because your senses are ordinary. The sun does not cease because a cloud passes. Trust the promise more than the mood. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26-3. You stayed your mind, you will be kept. Do not fear mistakes. Do not make an idol of accuracy. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Psalm 37-24. Course corrections follow obedience better than anxiety does. Move by the fruit of peace, and if later you see a better turn, take it without self-accusation. The shepherd is kind. All things work together for good to them that love God. Romans 8:28. Believe it or not, I have stepped on my own toes more than once. I sent a word too soon. 7 seconds later, I saw it and sent a second word, humbler and clearer. The relationship did not break. It deepened because grace, not pride, was governing. None of these are fatal. Only stubbornness before the inner nudge bruises long. Guard the clock. 7 seconds are not magic. They are an altar. Return to it often. Watch and pray, Mark 14:38. Pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17. This does not mean hours of strain. It means moments of acknowledgement scattered like seed through the day. Do not bargain with the clock as if you had purchased a result by paying time. Acknowledge the Father within and let him choose the hour, the channel, the form. Your work is access and consent. God's part is the doing. If you feel pressure to keep pausing in order to get something, pause instead to give consent, and then let love or patience go out as a sign that you have trusted, not traded. Keep the practice clean, sincere, unforced, unafraid. Sincere your word and your will agree. Unforced, you do not pry the door. You put your hand upon the latch and wait for it to open inward. Unafraid, you are not measuring yourself by fireworks, nor dreading the stumbles of a child learning to walk with the hand of the Father. Let this be your refrain as you go. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Say it once with the heart. Keep the altar. Accept the quiet and walk by the peace that rules. In this way, the river stays clear, the channels free of sand, and the day becomes what it was meant to be, a series of small obediences through which God is pleased to show himself. Beloved, let us build a simple rule for the day, not a burden, but a string of tiny bells that call us back to the altar. Ritualized micro-pauses weave grace into the fabric of the hours. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. We will acknowledge him at the threshold. Attach 7 honest seconds to the hinges of your life. Before email, pause. Father, thou doest the works. And then read or write by the fruit of peace. Before a call, pause. Yield the doer, then dial. At the doorway of your home or office, hand on the knob. 7 seconds. Peace be to this house. And enter as a guest of God. Before a meal, 7 seconds. I thank thee. And let gratitude go out to the unseen hands who gathered, baked, carried. Before you take the wheel, do not make a god of your hurry. 7 seconds, keep me as the apple of the eye, and drive as one carried. Before a purchase, pause. Thy grace is my sufficiency, and let the peace of God rule. These are not delays, they are alignments. The branch does not rush past the vine, it abides and bears. Then set 2 or 3 longer rests to deepen the current. Morning 2 to 5 minutes when the house is quiet. Do not begin by collecting the world. Begin by consenting to God. Cause me to hear thy loving kindness in the morning, for in thee do I trust. Psalm 143-8. Midday, steal back a small space, 2 to 3 minutes, to lay down what is gathered upon the shoulders. He restoreth my soul. Evening, 3 to 5 minutes to return the day, not as report card, but as offering. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Psalm 4-8. Believe it or not, this small architecture, 2 or 3 anchors with many tiny hinges, will alter the riverbed of your hours. The water will find it. Carry the word upon you as a living staff. A red letter New Testament, if you can obtain one, or a small card where you have written 3 promises for this season. Not 10-3, let them abide in you, and you abide in them. For many these will do. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. John 14:10. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. My grace is sufficient for thee. 2 Corinthians 12-9. Place the card where your hand finds it. Wallet, pocket, desk, dashboard. Do not chant them as if you could pry open heaven by noise. Look at them, breathe once, consent, and move by their government. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. John 15. Make stillness measurable, not theoretical. If your phone will serve, let it serve. Set a gentle chime at the top of certain hours, perhaps 9, 12, 3, 6, as bells of acknowledgement. 1 chime, 1 sentence within 7 seconds. I thank thee, and return to your task. If your watch has a small reminder, set it to nudge you before meetings or at doorways. Let the tools be your servants, not your masters. Or, if you prefer the old way, place 3 small coins in your right pocket each morning. Each time you keep a 7-second pause at a threshold, move 1 to the left. When all 3 have crossed, you have kept your rule for the day, and anything more is overflow. Watch and pray. We are not courting superstition, we are courting remembrance. Close the day gently with a brief review under grace. Sit for 2 or 3 minutes. Ask, where did a pause precede peace? Name it, and give thanks. Hitherto hath the Lord helped us. Ask, where did hurry cost me? Name it without sting. Do not accuse, learn. Search me, O God, and know my heart, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalm 100 and 39 to 23:24. If amends are shown, plan the smallest obedient step for the morrow, then release the day. Lay it in God's hands as you lay your head upon the pillow. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. You are not scoring yourself, you are steering by peace. In this way, beloved, the hours cease to be a blur of self-effort and become a trellis for the vine. Threshold by threshold, minute by minute, the Father within is acknowledged as the doer. The sap flows. Timing meets you as a friend at the corner. Love finds a way through you into rooms you did not know how to enter. Do not despise the smallness of it, for precept must be upon precept. Here a little and there a little. Isaiah 28:10. 7 honest seconds, stacked humbly through the day, will weave grace into its very fabric, and the day will confess by evening, not I, but Christ liveth in me. Beloved, we have spoken enough to know the hinge. Now we will turn it together and feel the door move upon it. Sit as you are. Let the shoulders loosen as a sign of trust. We will speak one true sentence within, not twice, not thrice, and then we will be still for 7 honest seconds. Father, this is thy work. Thou within me doest all things. Now be still. Let the breath fall as it will. If in that stillness grace invites you to remain, let 7 become 14 only by consent, never by strain. If not, 7 is sufficient. The mustard seed is not ashamed of its size. There, you could behold how little is asked, and yet how the government shifts. We did not pull a lever, we yielded a will. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Not figure out, no. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Without me ye can do nothing. John 15:5. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. John 14:10. This is not poetry to admire, this is agency to be trusted. The yoke becomes easy the moment the neck ceases to stiffen against it. Believe it or not, that quiet is the sign of government, not a vacancy. Now your commission, simple and irrevocable in love, the very next live decision after we part, before you speak, press send, spend, promise, decline, pause, 7 seconds, as we have done. Acknowledge once, Father, this is thy work. Yield the doer. Then proceed by the fruit of peace. If there is a nudge, move lightly. If there is a hand upon your sleeve, wait content, and then bear witness. Mark it with today's date and a line in your book, or tell it to one soul who will give God the glory. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, Psalm 107:2. Not to build a tale about yourself, but to set a stone of remembrance. Hitherto hath the Lord helped us, that your courage may not fail in the next hour. Hear this assurance that will keep you from leaning on anyone's arm. We have no organization. We have no memberships. You will not need me. You will have your contact with God. The authority of your day does not sit in a building or a board. It abides within you as the living presence. Live as a branch, not an organization. Abide and bear. Do not make a shrine of the method, nor a club of the company. It was the Master who fed the multitudes, not the multitudes who fed the Master. Your teacher is within, and you are his instrument. I am glad to have walked beside you to this threshold, but I am not your gate, and they shall be all taught of God, John 6:45. Therefore go out under a seal, not of human promise, but of his word. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, Isaiah 26:3. Stay your mind in 7 honest seconds, and you shall be kept in the hour that follows. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. Psalm 121:8. My grace is sufficient for thee, 2 Corinthians 12-9. Let these be your staff and your song. Keep them near, not as charms, but as government. Now, beloved, rise into the ordinary as into a sanctuary. Go to your next threshold and keep your rule. Pause, yield, and let the Father within take over. Watch how timing meets you like a friend at the corner. How love flows where defense once stood guard. How tasks do themselves in right order because you cease to do them of yourself. Do not be afraid of small beginnings nor of plain roads. Make no move, at least, without acknowledging. And when the fruit appears, say gladly, Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Peace be to your house, peace be to your going out and your coming in. Amen.